Welcome to Live, Let Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Myka and Steve.
Hello, hello, hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
Of Live,
Let
Thrive.
Thrive.
Hey, what is up, Myka, man?
I'm chilling, Stevie Stacks. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. A little bit beat down from the day. Today's my Sunday. You know, I got Tuesday, Wednesdays off. So, today's my Sunday out there messing with the pool and doing a bunch of things today. And out there hustling, looking for property. You know how you doing it. Looking for properties, looking for stuff. And that's the thing with hustlers, right? Right now, everybody's like the COVID thing. And oh, man, I'm so bored. There's nothing to do. Man, you and I, there's not enough hours in the day.
That's real.
For hustlers like us, there's not enough hours in the day. And like most of our fans out there and listeners, and Scott Jennings would probably agree. And Scott Jennings is our next guest on episode 126 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, Homeaway, all that stuff podcast. And I'll do a quick bio on Scott before he speaks. He's sitting there, patiently waiting. Scott Jennings is a native of NC, which is, I would assume, North Carolina. An entrepreneur to the core, Scott was the guy selling you candy in school. He is the owner of Service RX, an installation service and maintenance company for commercial fitness equipment that operates from Pennsylvania to Florida to Atlanta. He is a COO in the newly formed Sojourn, a short and mid-term rental management investment group. Scott has been a long-time member of Inmates to Entrepreneurs, where he is a board member, teacher, and mentor. He has been a guest of the White House and worked with members of Congress and the media due to his work with inmates and entrepreneurs. Scott truly believes anything is possible with a great mindset, good work ethic, and creative, thoughtful approach. It is a pleasure for him to share his experiences with those around him. Scott sees himself as a student as well as a teacher. So give it up for Scott Jennings, everybody.
Scott, what up? That was dope.
I always wanted to do that.
How you been, man? How you doing?
Oh, we're hanging in there. It's the end of the day here. You said that entrepreneurs or those who are hustlers, whatever you want to call us, we don't have enough time in the day. Ain't that the truth? And especially when you like what you do, more often than not, at least, you will get up and half the time before you've even finished your coffee, you will start rolling into your office or so forth, and I'm sort of at that point right now, especially with the things changing, right, the way they have. I'm more on the new side of the short-term, mid-term rental game. We're now saying mid-term because now all of us are looking to put people there longer than just 30 days, if at all possible. And it's a new market. So I have been fanatical about learning and also building a new website, which I'm going to do. I'm doing all on my own this time, 100% from beginning to end. And let me tell you, it's testing every patience I have, but I think I will be done over the next handful of days. So I'm proud of myself. Beat my chest.
Nice.
So you're more of a do-it-yourself kind of guy.
Well, normally, so with Service RX, God, just changing the name, it's hard to remember. With Service RX, I've always had a designer, but he build templates, and then I just go in and make basic changes, right, that need to get done, and I can be creative over time. This, I wasn't sure what I wanted specifically. And so when you're not very specific, you're now talking a couple $1,000s to do the website versus, and I get the time, right? I have the time right now to be able to dedicate some hours every day or every couple days or whatever to doing it. So I wanted the challenge. It's just another opportunity to learn, I guess, essentially. That's what it comes down to. I can learn. And then if I want to do something else in the future, I'm more apt to be able to do it on my own because a startup cost is a website. And if I can do it myself, and the faster I can do it, and I can get more to the point, and if I'm okay with design, I don't build something janky. It might not be the most high end, and some designers would rip it apart and have me fix all kinds of stuff, but it's good. So yeah, it's just more about me learning and being able to do for myself, so that way when the time comes and I don't have to do these things anymore, or don't want to do these things anymore, I'm able to communicate to those who are much better.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
How long
Perfectly
has your
said.
Service RX been up?
Okay, so we started as Fit Tech and Assembly back in. I've been in the fitness equipment industry since 2010, but I was a contractor for the first year, so we started in 2011, and we became Service RX just here in the last couple of weeks. And we did that because when you don't know any better and you name your business Fit Tech in the fitness equipment world, it doesn't matter if it says Fit Tech and Assembly is the whole name. It's still Fit Tech, and all the million different ways that people want to spell it, be cute. We get held up responsible for all the other fit techs in our industry. And there's a lot, supposedly. The vast majority of them, you can't find a website on them, by the way. You can't find them. We just know that they're there. And we kept running into instances where we were being held accountable for another company. And then three things happened all at once. One, a high-end service advisor over at Core Health and Fitness. So Core Health and Fitness is the parent company for Star Trek and Nautilus and Schwinn. Those are brands you've seen, right? And Stairmaster.
Okay.
So the best thing you could ever do is change your name. The service reps are holding you accountable for everybody else as well. So we heard that and we okay, let's start thinking about this. We already knew this was a thing anyways. And then there's just a handful of miles south of me here, a guy changed his name to Fit Tech. It's like, dude, you got to know I'm here. I mean, because I'm easy to find. I'm not hard to find. I mean, the website. Look, my website, the SEO, and it's been up for so long. They had a girl from California call and say, "Hi, is this Fit Tech?" Yeah. She says, "Can you come see? Service my equipment. Where are you at?" And she was like, "Somewhere in Northern California." And I said, "No." Why? Because she was calling a Fit Tech there, but they didn't have a website, obviously. So we've had that, and then we were doing an install at LA Fitness in Atlanta, and we're friends. We're pretty good friends with Neil, who's their head of operations. So for all of the LA Fitnesses, and Neil pops in and sees my guys, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Fit Tech's here." And he's like, I'm talking to him, blah 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 blah. And my guys didn't know him; they didn't, but he knew who we were, and I know who he is. And he looks at the guys and go, "Hey, by chance, did you guys do the install in Detroit?" That's because they messed that up. Was that y'all? And no, we don't service Detroit, but it should have just never been a question, right? And so changing it to Service RX, we're still service, we still stay in that world, right? But it's going to separate us out enough that we can also do other things too. We have a good relationship with Hydro Massage. So if you ever go to Planet Fitness, those chairs that that you get to lay on that massage you, not the mechanical ones, but the ones that shoot water in them. We fix and install a lot of those. And then we've been messing around a little bit with some tanning beds, and we're actually very interested in getting to the float industry. So sensory deprivation chambers, they're coming back. They're very cool. If you have not tried them, I suggest you go. Have you tried one, Steve?
Joe Rogan show. He always talks about that stuff.
Yep. Well, and I'd heard it there, and then I saw some other people talking about it, and I went here locally and tried one, and oh yeah, man, if I could own one. It's like forced meditation, and the only way to explain it is after I went in for an hour. And when I came out, I had not been that centered as a human being in an extremely long time.
Wow.
I mean, completely grounded. There's just no way to sort of, okay, the closest thing I think that might make sense, that brief moment when you wake up, like as soon as you realize you're coming into consciousness and like you're perfectly in that moment, like just, it's that best place in the world to be. Mm-hmm. That's what it was like. as far getting to that point. Put it this way, I went to a point where I was doing some deep breathing, and I've learned, I don't know enough about it, but I just know that, good breathing work, whatever, is really good for you. But I was in there and I was doing some deep breathing, but suddenly, when you close your eyes, you basically are sort of like two-dimensional. All right. It's no real depth to it. It suddenly grew depth for me. Like suddenly that darkness, that blackness had depth. It just, one day it'll be a regular thing for me.
That's awesome.
What areas do you guys service? Because we're building a gym.
Well, so we got the DC office, and he's just outside of DC, and so he's servicing basically DC Metro. So remember, the vast majority of Maryland becomes DC Metro. A lot of so he's got the Northern Virginia, Maryland. He ends up in Pennsylvania doing some installs, some Delaware doing installs. West Virginia actually is right by his place too, because that office up there is based out of Little Washington, which is the middle of nowhere, Northern Virginia. And so he does sort of that area. And service-wise, we were splitting the line at like Richmond, Virginia, because it's halfway through the state. And then the North Carolina headquarters is actually much bigger. So that's North Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. We take care of Charlotte and Columbia, South Carolina. And so most of North Carolina and South Carolina, parts of Georgia, we go over to Atlanta and stuff like that. And then we had a Florida office, but that's on its way out. Just not a good relationship with the person running it, just not working out very well. Might come back. There's a lot of opportunity down there. But you guys are more Western, so I don't think we're heading in that direction anytime soon. However, if anybody listening to this podcast would be interested in teaming up with us, we're always looking for something new. I mean,
Call Mahogany.
Yep. Yeah. So I just saw that recently. So Mahogany is whose significant other?
It's my wife.
Okay, your wife, and she has a fitness thing going on? Because I saw.
Yeah, she's a personal trainer and bodybuilder.
Gotcha. Well, if she wants to tap some of the people who might be service techs that she sees that want the opportunity to basically own a business, that's sort of what we're looking to try to do for our growth. Find people who have experience, who have the dedication and the talent. We've already, we'll make mistakes. We went to the person in Florida. It wasn't a good fit for us. But the guy in DC has been awesome, right? So what we bring to the table is being able to simply almost turn on the faucet for some people, literally. Instead of having a hard startup, right? Trying to do it on your own and make connections and stuff. We just start calling people and go, "Hey, we're in this area now." They're, "Oh, great, wonderful," and it's worked out well. It happened in Florida, and it definitely happened in DC. So.
Now, here's a question I have, because obviously you dropped some names like of Planet Fitness, big companies that you set up, gym equipment for.
Mm-hmm.
And so have you always done help people start up home gyms and stuff like that?
Not so much home gyms. So the residential customer is much harder than the commercial customer. The commercial customer has a level of experience. Doesn't mean the commercial customer is always easy either, right? But they're at least coming with knowledge, and the residential customer is not. And they are really shopping on price more often than not. They don't care about quality. They just want to know that, I can get what I want for $1,000 or $1,500. I tell people all the time that used to call us. They'd say, "Hi, I want to buy a treadmill," and I'd say, "Okay," and we, through some of our residential manufacturers, we have the opportunity to sell residential stuff. I'm like, well, if you go under sort of this price point, you're wasting your time. Basically, if you go to Walmart and you buy a Walmart treadmill, you bought a Walmart treadmill, even though it still said the same brand name as a higher end one, right? Mm-hmm. It's just you pay for, you get what you pay for. And so, and we've done, and the residential customer too, they don't know how to think about how this is going to fit in their space. So it's just a lot more work. So, will I do it for someone? Yeah. Yeah. But let me help you versus fight against you to get it done. Because you have to spend some money to get what you want, and you have to think about how it's going to fit in that space.
Well, see, because the reason I asked is because obviously with the COVID-19 thing going on and gyms shutting down everywhere, and then they're barely gonna start opening up again. I wouldn't think your phone would be ringing off the hook to be filling up these places with new gym equipment. So, did you ever think of like doing a pivot like that and marketing yourself as someone to set up these home gyms? Because everybody wants a home gym now.
Well, see, that's the thing. So in North Carolina, we stopped we stopped installing for right now. Here's why. So I'm blessed in the beauty of now I get to show up part-time or no time. So we've been on the service side for quite some time, and 2.5 going on 3 years ago, I started doing install, and we had more and more customers call. I come from the world of office furniture, so I understand the assembly of products, right? You know, I was building office cubicles and installing office furniture for 13 years on and off. And by the time I left, I'd been project manager, a project coordinator. You know, I had very large territories for people that I'd worked for. So install came naturally. But then what happens, the more we grew, what I realized is that the more control we lost in the end product and how things happen. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't gain that control. And so it was so we started losing money. Because I had issues on the crew. Didn't matter how much I wanted to train you, just work ethic, things happening. It doesn't mean all the guys, but there wasn't a consistency, right? You need a consistency and work ethic to be successful, even in just teaching someone to put something together. It's extremely. I mean, we're moving thousands of pounds a day. I mean, we're not digging ditches. That's hard too, right? But we are offloading whole trucks that have, each weight stack is a minimum of 200 pounds. Some of the heaviest piece of equipment that comes completely built is pretty much a piece of free motion functional trainer. It's about 1,200 pounds. And 2 guys will move that. They'll get it up on a dolly and they'll get it moved, but they're doing that day in and day out, and they're fighting. Also, equipment's not exactly always won't fit through doors. You know how many gyms have a normal size door instead of 2 doors? So half the time you're taking things apart, so it's a variety of things. It was just, so I can control my crew. That's the thing I can control, but I couldn't control all my dealers and my manufacturers. And my main dealer that I was working for got in bed with some very large players and started letting the very large players really control the boat. And they'd say, yeah, we're ready. And then we'd show up and they cut the concrete out going into the building the day before. And so, yeah, we charged you, but we didn't charge you at a profit, right? We charged for time. And then what happens is it's a variety of things, and they all sort of sound like excuses, but I couldn't control that half. And when someone told me that, hey, Scott, you can still get your paycheck and not have to do this craziness anymore, I said, you know what? I want to focus on my short-term rentals and grow that business, because it's cash flow. It's good. And this is new and intriguing to me. And I'm having fun at it. So
how does this bring us all the way back to short-term rentals? How did you get into that?
You know what? I saw Brian Page go on Grant Cardone and offer his course for $997 or whatever it is. Oh, did you know that the secret number and all pay for like gigs like that where they're selling you a product usually end in a 7? Just saw that the other day, and actually I started realizing that they all end in 7s. So anyhow, it was like $997, and and then if you listen to some of the other people, who will poo-poo Brian Page and his course and whatever, I don't care. It got me the information I needed to get started in a systematic way and help me understand what I had to do first, right? Yeah. And so we bought the course, and for between the course and our first place, I pitched 3 places, and by the third one I'd already landed my first studio apartment.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we're a mix now of arbitrage and managing for owners. I'm not sure which I like best. I think I like the arbitrage better because I'm in more control. Mm-hmm. But I'm also learning what kind of owner I want to work with and who I don't want to work with, and how to control the situation maybe a little bit better. But regardless, so we were looking for something new. Me and my wife were both getting older, And more so, my wife has had a hard time with employment because she is now 50 and, has got a master's degree and everything. But I guess age discrimination, whatnot, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it was. She just couldn't seem to find employment. And so, well, let's do this. And so here we are. And actually, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And it also gives me opportunity to work from anywhere. And that's what I'm really looking for in life right now, is sort of to work from anywhere.
How many units are you up to, and how long you been hosted?
So we had 6. We let one go. It was in a bad territory. So when I had partnered and started managing for a homeowner, and I went there at night, and when I came back during the day, it was sort of a rough neighborhood. Great neighborhood. Everyone was great, but the people that stayed there didn't tend to like the guys who were a couple doors down who would work on their car and get drunk and then want to talk to them. Nice guys. They just didn't really care for that. They sort of beat us up over stuff. So we let that go. So we're down to 5. We're planning to head to Panama, and it's iffy. We had full intentions on renting out our own place here upstairs, and just locking off the basement and bringing our personal stuff down. But we're not sure if that's actually going to happen or not when we leave. But we're still looking. So we thought we had, I was bummed, man. We had a handshake deal on the place, and then the lady took it back. Hopefully it's not over with though, because she's also talked about upstairs. She's got a in-law suite and a 3-bedroom, 2-bath upstairs that she might give us all at some point. A building that we have 2 studios in is potentially got a 3rd for us, I hope. So hopefully we're going to grow here in the next week or 2. We started buying furniture just in case,
So did, how'd I ask? How did COVID-19 affect your business model? And,
oh, dude, yeah.
Okay. How did you adjust to it? What were the effects and how did you adjust to it?
Well, it's just like I think everybody did, right? Anybody who has a rental most likely had full calendars and then suddenly didn't have full calendars, And again, I was new, and so, but I've seen this before. I've seen fearful things before, right? Mm-hmm. And so the best thing I can do is stop. Yeah, I'm going to freak out. I saw a post the other day. You get about 5 seconds of freak out, then it's time to go gangster. So mine was longer than 5 seconds, but I went gangster. Okay, what do I got to do? And I just started diving into content and realizing the power of getting people off platform at that point in time and getting them into direct booking. And actually, you guys interviewed Adam. Adam was great for helping me understand a little bit more about it, wrapping my head around it a little bit better. I knew that when we had started this, that I wanted to follow a more corporate path. I know that. I already knew that, but it was easy money, and so I was not moving super fast. I was more worried about my channel manager working for me well than I was about direct booking and working around that. So I was still in the figuring out what was my best channel manager stage when this happened. The example being is I'm now my 3rd channel manager in less than a year. And because I truly believe that you have to start with a good channel manager and then go out from there.
Which channel managers have you used, and which are you using now?
I start off with it, IMGS. Is that what it's called? IMG. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And that was okay. And then I went over to Homeaway, Hostaway. And now I'm at Owner Res. And let me tell you, Owner Res is the deal. And here's why. Here's my issue with channel managers, right? It doesn't matter how well they work. They're built by engineers. And they're engineer-centric. In other words, they don't understand what customer service is. So if you have a problem, it's not an instant fix. I do business in real time, and I'm sure you guys do business in real time. So then where there's a problem, within 24 hours, we usually want to have some kind of a fix in process, right? it wasn't that way. With IMGS, it was just like too slow, and I couldn't pick up the phone and call anybody. And then Host, they're out of Seattle, Washington area or something like that. And then Hostaway is like Germany, Netherlands, somewhere anyhow. And again, I mean, it might be a week before they're willing to even get on a Google Meet, or something it's just, that's unacceptable to me.
Yeah.
I've been using service-based platforms for ServiceRx for a long time. I understand the power of why your software is extremely important and how it makes me money. And so when I got Onerez, and Onerez still doesn't have a phone call, a phone number that you can call. Oh, it's listed on their website, but no one picks it up. But if I send an email, there's usually one back to me, depending on how busy they are, sometimes within an hour. Downside is I mean, it's still not customer service oriented. However, the software, while not plug and play like everybody else, the software is just, it's built for me. It's built for me to be successful. Yes, it has an extremely hard learning curve, but it's built for me to be successful. And so like I've already hooked it up to the back end of the website I'm working. And so for my website and their widgets that they produce for me, I plug them right into my website. It's got calendar, it's got rates, it's got everything. And someone goes straight from my website directly to a quote, to an assigned agreement, to a payment, to a signed digital lease, the whole 9 yards. It's just boom, 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 boom.
Wait a minute. What? This is with Onerez?
Onerez, yeah. So I can go from my website to a quote. They'll immediately see the quote that just got produced. So it's just like a checkout, Okay. And then all they got to do is say, yes, I want it. And it will go and it'll produce the lease. They'll sign the lease. I will capture all their information. I don't have to do squat. It just have to, it just has to happen.
Myka's signing up right now.
Let me send you an affiliate link. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to be a greedy SOB and send you an affiliate link. But it does have a hard learning curve because it's built by engineers. And even when talking to them, they'll say, yeah, we know, we understand. And they're trying to get better, and they're starting to produce some videos and things like that. But they don't have a text messaging platform, but they have an extremely robust email platform. Like I can create any kind of email with any kind of trigger to do certain things. There are some areas that are very lacking. Like I can't send an email like IGMS was great because you could send an email like every 5 minutes or a message. You could stagger stuff, right? Hostaway, you could stagger stuff by the hour. Unfortunately, Onerez, it's like by the day. And that's just, eventually they'll understand that at least by the minutes makes sense, because I don't know about you guys, but when I receive a bunch of emails, they start becoming spam very, 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 very fast.
Right.
I can speak. That'd be all right. But what else can it do? Direct integration, obviously, with everybody else. And it's got its own website, just like, Adam was talking about with, what's he use? He's Hostfully. Yeah. But their website, I don't know what Hostfully's website looks like. I haven't gone over and see what Adam's, he's never shared his stuff with me. But it looks like a legitimate website, I mean, it's a decent one. And what you do is it will take your domain name and you integrate you just hook your domain name up, and they'll give you immediately SSL certificate, and it'll act just like any other website. I just wanted something that was a little bit more SEO friendly. In other words, WordPress. And, I wanted to be more corporate based and have more functionality. So that's why I've never really used theirs.
So you rather build your own website then?
Yeah, because I want to build something that's not based in just simply the short-term rental lifestyle. I want to base something that, I get, like I have one apartment. I just locked some guy in for 6 months, and I want to get people who are paying, $2,000, $3,000 for stuff because they're coming through a corporation and they want the security of consistency in a good product. And so that's what I want to build a brand. I don't want to build a short-term rental business. I want to build a brand. So we start off as the name was Guest House, and then we all make stupid decisions. We all make stupid mistakes, right? We based it off the fact of in our state that we could find Guest House LLC as the website. Never even thinking to check with the Secretary of State whether or not it was actually taken. I should know better all day long. All day long, I should.
I already know where this is going.
Yeah, and it was taken, and so, but we're at the beginning of the journey, and so I just looked at my wife and said, "All right, let's think about it." So we threw a lot of ideas around, and nothing was. We're bickering back and forth about nothing that doesn't work, and she suddenly showed up with the name Sojourn, SOJOURN, which means short stay or temporary stay.
I like that.
Oh, okay. That works. Yeah, because we were talking about, there's other.
I can tell she came up with it, not you.
Yeah, I know.
You have a thing with naming things.
I know. I know.
It's your kryptonite.
Exactly. And because we were throwing around the fact that you have Lyric and you have Stay Alfred and you have all these other businesses, that the name isn't very specific to the industry, right? And so that got her thinking in another way, and we were just throwing stuff around trying to find, and she's a longtime florist, so I was like, what's your favorite flower? So she likes irises, and then a Hawaiian flower, because she went to school in Hawaii, called Pua Kini Kini. I probably said that completely wrong. I think it's Pua Kini Kini. We were looking up how to name things based like that, things that would not confuse the customer, because we want to build a brand. And especially if we take this brand and we go to Panama with it and other places as we start to travel the world, we wanted to make sure it could last.
Mm-hmm. I like names that aren't so like specific to what they're describing, what I'm saying? And like when I looked up podcasts, but before we started doing podcasts, if there was any Airbnb podcast, there'd be the Airbnb podcast or the short-term stay podcast. Okay, that's cool, but you can never really expand. You can never even talk about anything else because that's what you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I thought of Live, Let, Thrive. Let was a little, a nod of the hat to how the English people. We have room to let. You can rent something out. And so Live, Let, Thrive. I thought, yeah, that's a pretty cool title. It doesn't, if you looked at it right away, you might not know it's about short-term rentals, but it's just, it's just a cool title. Like Apple, what the fuck is, Apple is selling computers, and that's just, it doesn't mean, computer.o, they have a good, strong name. It doesn't have to be exactly what they're talking about,
Yeah. Oh, that's the perfect way to think. I mean, that's when we're teaching at inmates, right? We're always talking about making sure that you're building a brand, that you're thinking in those ways, right? Because if you're not, you think yourself into a corner, essentially, and you will get yourself stuck. And then it's harder to get out. And people don't really wrap their head around it until they're in it. So with Fit Tech and Assembly and the name change, it was suddenly, I wish we would have done it like about a week or so sooner, right? But we were like, hold on a sec. Wait, there's no one coming to the website. And so we have a chat bot on the website. By the way, if you have a website, chat bots you can get for free, and they're just super easy plugins, right? But what they'll do is they'll give you the most basic of information. It's just like Google Analytics. They're tracking. So suddenly I get a chat bot email of how many people had come the other week, and it hit 3. I was like, time to change the name. We're not going to disturb anybody, obviously. And we had gone from probably about 160 people or so a week coming through the website, to 3. I said, time to change the name. And we just jumped on it. And it was a good time to pivot and not paint. And again, the name change was about not painting yourself in the corner. So like you said, to Live, Let, Thrive, it doesn't paint you into a corner. Sojourn hopefully will never paint us into a corner. World domination has to happen in a way that is as smooth as possible. Let's keep it simple, stupid.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, are you running ads to your running ads so people can get to your website? And how are you advertising it to go to?
I was. Okay. So I was, so again, everything is sort of, now that we changed the name, now my Facebook page is useless. right? Everything starts becoming useless very quickly. But yes, I started immediately running Facebook ads. Again, learning from Adam about how he was searching for people, which made a lot of sense to me. We were doing Facebook ads. I didn't get into pay-per-click because I didn't actually have a really I didn't have a real website to work with, and then so Facebook and Instagram ads together, and then Craigslist, and then that was really it. And I've stayed 80% plus occupied easily,
Nice.
maybe 90. I mean, I've had a couple like bad spots, but we entered a world where suddenly, for the vast majority of us, it became a price war. It wasn't about the quality of your place anymore. It was a price war. It was just surviving through this. And I would like to say that hopefully by the time I'm building and I get another year or two in it, it won't be a price war. It'll be it's a customer base war, and that's what I learned out of all of this. It's a customer base. Remember, all these individuals who have suffered and complained and whined and said, "Oh my God, Airbnb," and that's the reality is that you didn't own the customer.
Yep.
You have no customer base. You have none. So shame on you for not realizing that and realizing that you are living off of the scraps that are given to you, and there's nothing wrong with that in a good economy, but you see where it's wrong, where it's very wrong with what we're going through. And see, that's what I knew I wanted to work towards, but I was like everyone else, is being lazy. And then suddenly it's like, oh, that will never happen to me again. I will build my customer base.
I'm happy you brought that up because a lot of people live that high economy. And me and Steve talked about it. I'm like, we don't know what Airbnb will go through if something ever happens to the economy. Well, we just seen what happened, So I'm happy you brought that up. Yeah, and I tell people Airbnb is a gatekeeper between you and your customer. But once they are in your home, you can now make them your customer. You have that opportunity. A lot of people didn't take advantage of it.
By the way, OwnerRez has what they call the OwnerRez bridging channel that scrapes information that you don't get from Airbnb and Homeaway and Booking.com over into your stuff. And then also you build into your renter's agreement that goes out to everybody, doesn't matter what channel they come from, to ask for all that information again. So guess what? I have 90% of the emails, so I will start direct booking through MailChimp and whatnot, and I will start my own campaigns, and I will do, so again, build your customer base and start giving them the power. It's a great platform. I mean, yes, did they steer the ship wrong? Yeah. Brian, whatever his last name is, the fact is that when he started, he's had a unicorn the whole time. Yes, he's had hard times in growing a business, but he's never faced this. And what he doesn't have is the seasonality to steer the ship properly. So what he didn't understand was, instead of doubling down on the quality of his hosts, he doubled down on what, the World Health Organization and CDC and everything was saying, and not realizing that the professionals here, and I'll count myself as a professional because I understood exactly what needed to happen as soon as I didn't freak. I mean, it's like, okay, we know we got to clean. I went out and got an ozone machine immediately because I didn't have one yet. Dude, we started asking before you got here, where have you been? What have you done? How have you feel? We ask you before you leave, where have you been? What have you done? Talking with all my cleaners. The professionals host here immediately started these practices and figuring out ways around, and we're listening and paying attention. So we were ready. Oh, and by the way, we were self-isolating, weren't we? We had all the places that were self-isolating, but they suddenly wrote algorithms that cut everyone's heads off. And why? We were set up perfectly. Oh, that's right. But we saw real things happen. We saw hotel ads suddenly show up in place of us. And, we saw a lot of immature moves happen in the way of business. And instead of backing us up, and right, wrong, or indifference, I'm not mad. I mean, I think we lost, since we're on the new side and our prices were only just gaining momentum. I think we lost 12,000 that month. But you know what, we survived, and I learned. I'm not going to be mad at it. You know, I'm going to be a better player. But Tom Sell said,
Makes you stronger.
yeah, you know, because you guys know who the bad actors are. You watch them whine, complain, and moan about things that they should be able to control themselves. You know, and they should go out and figure out a workaround to the problem. You know, and learn more about being a business owner. You know, I would like to think that since there's three of us here and we're on a podcast and we're talking business, that we're all three good business owners, and we understand that hopefully we all understand that we have so much more to learn. You know, because I talked to a girl yesterday who has only been in the business a year and a half, and she went out and franchised with a company called Avenue West or something like that. Mm-hmm. She's now getting like buku money for corporate rentals. I'm like, dang, I want your money, you know. I got a lot to learn here, you know. But of course, I managed to have a conversation where I'm picking her brain. You know, I'm letting her give me information that I needed to learn and to know about, and to know what kind of pool I can play in. All right, I want to be in the deep end.
I have a question for your advertising. You said you do MailChimp, whatnot. Now, I was just actually in a mastermind group and we were talking about this. Which do you, because I know you've been in business, you have been in several businesses. Which do you find more effective, email marketing or text message marketing? Or have you used both?
I've not used text message. Okay, so again, I'm new to short-term, you know, midterm rental stuff. So Facebook ads really paid off. Mm-hmm. and just writing ads on top of Craigslist. On the fitness side, for what I do for a living, I mean, I even worked with some friends of mine who have a marketing firm, and there was just zero ROI for anything. Yeah, I mean, if you're sending out emails, it's just to remind your customer that you're here. Here's why. All right. I'm in such a niche that you're going to type in specific keywords to find me. You're going to type in treadmill repair, elliptical repair, a fitness equipment service. You might type in the name of the manufacturer. And that's pretty much all you're going to do. But if you're commercial, you have been introduced to the vast majority of us through our manufacturers. All right. So, and there's only a handful of players in every single state, you know? So you already know who's who. Or if you're not, you know, you only ask for specific things. So when I ran pay-per-click or Facebook ads or anything else, what I did was I attracted the residential owner who was not my ideal customer. In the residential market, I don't want to deal with anyone who has equipment getting past 5 years old. So we had this rule that if, you know, I think at 5 years, they start saying no. By 7 years, they're saying no, we're not touching that piece of equipment. Because in the residential market, as the equipment ages, they stop making parts. And then it's also the issue of you've probably never taken care of it. So once it's the same thing as it's just a can of worms. We touch one part, and next, you know, other things start to break. Just because you were removing parts, it just causes more problems. So it doesn't really work too well that we have found. And we haven't found anybody who has been able to say, yes, dealers it works for, fitness equipment dealers who actually sell equipment. It does, but not on the service side. And then in short-term rental, yeah, I mean, dude, I will eat the heck out of, you know, MailChimp, whatever marketing campaigns. I will Facebook campaign. I will Instagram campaign. I have been amazed at TikTok recently. Dude, TikTok is where the happy people are. The happy people, the courageous people, not the ones who want to bitch, moan, and complain about politics and whatever else they want to complain about,
like Facebook.
Such as in Facebook land. And so I'm trying to figure out how can I make funny videos on TikTok regarding, one, the short-term rentals, you know, and then two, can we do that for fitness equipment repair? You know, how can I get my guys to get out of their comfort zone and be able to laugh at themselves and put themselves out there and have some fun? You know, I have no problem being a goofball. You should meet my wife. Oh my God. Between both of us, anything is possible. More so with her. You know, but yeah, you know, and back to your point, I've never tried text message. However, I get a lot of them, you know, and I get them randomly. That's the problem, is they get them randomly, and they're always from financial people. hi, Capital Loans would like to, rob me. Because that's what it always is, right? I mean, if you're advertising to me more often than not, I've learned this the hard way by taking bad loans, that you're going to take advantage of me, So
yeah, I like that though. Yeah, I like that you got to find what the benefit of each platform. And TikTok is a very underrated platform.
I want to learn how it monetizes too. It's just something about it. I've been amazed at watching the courageousness of people on it.
Mm-hmm.
And willing to put themselves out, especially those, that are handicapped and still get up and do the TikTok dances and it's cool. Go for it. I could care how, I'm one of these people, and I grew up in a household, and I'm blessed to have a ton of friends that, in the same way in this world, who could care less about, if you're big, small, tall, fat, skinny, amputee, not amputee, whatever. No one cares, just don't be an asshole. Right. And so when I've been on Facebook, it's like, gotta get tired of the trolls, especially the intellectual trolls, that you say black, they say white, you say white, they say black. It doesn't matter, and it's like, okay, you're making me dumb and I'm leaving the room because I'm getting dumber the longer I talk to you. And it's just because most people don't think for themselves. Right. I don't watch the news, by the way. Public, turn off the news. You want to get rid of 90% of the problems of the world, turn off the news. Do not watch news. You have to tell me when something is going on. You have to tell me that there's a big storm coming. You have to tell me that there's about to snow or
a pandemic.
Whatever's. There's a pandemic. I mean, it wasn't really. It was only on my radar because it was coming through social media. But my staff has to tell me about major things happening, so I will start to pay attention. And I'll go, okay, just let me know if I need to pay attention. And then if they come back in a couple of days, go, let's start making decisions around this. I'll get on the news and I'll start watching and looking for information about it, and we'll talk. But I don't get my day ruined by a talking head who tells me what was their opinion that suddenly became a fact because they got to talk about it for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. Here's a burning question I have. You being in North Carolina, I'm a huge Tar Heels fan over here in Texas, and so obviously this all happened right when March Madness was going to start, and it just destroyed the March Madness, and they canceled it. And I heard this one crazy this guy talking about, he's a bar owner, he has several bars, and he was saying that he makes half his revenue in that 1 month of March Madness for the whole year, half of his revenue. And I'm like, and I started thinking about it. I was like, it's kind of like, it's like kind of like a Super Bowl every day going on for like almost like a month, and they just totally lost half the revenue, man. He was so dependent on March Madness.
Yep. So the reason why the Hornets are not what they should be is because we have Duke and UNC. And that's absolutely true. The reason why we do not have professional baseball here is because we have the Durham Bulls. Hockey does well. Redneck hockey does okay. The Carolina Hurricanes do okay. Now, all my units except for one are in Chapel Hill. So, wow, man, I love the college because it brings me money. I'm a little bummed that 30,000 kids or whatever left and all their parents. I lost graduation money. Man, that was good cash coming. That was good cash. Yeah. But and then my other one is our fifth one is over in Durham, just 6 miles from Duke. So, and then with you talking about ACC Madness, right? So that's held in Greensboro. All right. So my other unit that I let go in Greensboro was just a couple miles down the street from the Coliseum. So it was a direct shot. Boom. Right there. So we were sort of banking on all these things, and unfortunately it changed. But yeah, that's UNC as a school brings so much. It's a fun town. It's a great town. It's changing dramatically. They're going through a huge build process. It's gentrifying. It was already gentrified. It's gentrifying again. It's going to that next. They're tearing down and rebuilding now. UNC as a school has literally probably built, I swear, on every square inch they have. Soon there's going to be buildings in the middle of the football stadium, because it's this flat piece of ground. But there's a lot of money around schools, and that's what I've learned. And so when I'm thinking ahead now, I'm looking for how does a college, a medical facility, because that's been a lot of our customers is, okay, so, and we're just going to go with Chapel Hill because that's where I have the most experience of having all these units in one spot. Parents come to see kids, alumni coming back to go to games. They've been doing better in football, and so that really helped. Obviously, basketball was not a good year for them this year, but that's a rarity for them. But you can't, and when you live in a place that's a basketball dynasty, Duke and Chapel Hill, all in this, which they're 12 miles apart, by the way. So it's a big rival. But and then we have the hospital, so UNC Hospital, because they're a big medical school, and then we get we also get a lot of people coming in for to apply to work at the college. So with the college being shut down right now, it's a bummer. It's a big bummer. But that's what I'm looking for now when I'm out and about. It's like, and we're driving for dollars. I'm thinking about what's close. Why does someone have to come here? And I was doing some work up in Pittsburgh, doing an install up there, and man, I was like really close to Carnegie Mellon, I think is what they told me the school was. In the whole area, all I was seeing was dollar signs. I was going, I need, once I get a little bit better hold of what I'm doing and understand how to work from afar, there's certain areas I'll be going too hard, Yeah,
it's just a lot of, I think the areas is really huge at this time. Like it's, people like aren't traveling in New York, but they say if you go upstate New York, people are going there like crazy just to get out of the city. So I think those little small towns, rural towns, or towns with the school, man, hospitals, those are hits right now.
Yeah, schools are always going to be good as long as they're a big school, right? Because schools have so much flow in and out between parents, students, staff. Especially if there's a hospital built into it. Dude, that's the interesting part about this, is that you're if you can think of a reason why someone needs to travel, then you have an opportunity to make income. I don't know if I have any real interest in straight up vacation rental, because that is seasonal, unless I'm like the tip of Florida, or like I said, we're going to Panama, and when we go down to Panama, I'm quickly, in the time that we're down there, we're going to try to travel the vast majority of the country. And hopefully what we'll do is we'll get a understanding of the beat and the rhythm of the place. What is business oriented? What is vacation oriented? How long is the vacation season, if it is, because they're so close to the equator. They're only, I don't know, man, 50 miles or so from the equator. So is it year long? Because they have seasons too. They have their windy season, they have the rainy season, they have, but they don't get hit by the hurricanes. They haven't been hitting one forever. It's like Hawaii rarely gets hit by anything. So they do have earthquakes though. Fun. Mm-hmm. But that's what we'll do is when we go down there, we'll try to figure out what is the market, and why do we feel like we could be profitable here, especially renting a place for $200 and $300 a month.
Nice.
Yeah, and also too, it's different standards too. It's a country that has a different standard from the U.S., and so that's how I hit you guys up and said, yeah, me and Adam were both going to Panama. Adam's wife is Panamanian. And he's going down there too. He was supposed to be there in December already. So yeah, in December, and I was supposed to leave tomorrow. And so, but we both had the same thought of going down there and figuring out this culture and stuff. So, this is just a business that can take you worldwide if you do it right. Obviously, we're watching people. I'm sure you guys are watching the people on YouTube. The guy Optimized Airbnb or whatever he's called, he's over in Philippines area, somewhere like that. And then you got Life Afar. I can't remember that guy's name. He is Colombia. And then I'm not. That's all I'm watching for the Airbnb world, at least short-term rental people.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm seeing like in some spots that it was already kind of a lot of cities being anti-Airbnb before this COVID thing, but this kind of like gave them like an excuse to say, all right, all short-term rentals are banned in so and so city until we tackle this COVID-19 thing. It kind of gave them I don't know I don't know why they would attack short-term rentals, because I mean it seems it would be a lot safer to stay in a house where you could stay by yourselves instead of like a big hotel full of thousands of people, right? But I just see like Maui, for example, they outlawed Airbnbs because of the COVID-19 thing, and I was like, why would they do that? And so I mean, you don't know what's going to work behind the scenes, but do you think the cities are going to be attacking Airbnb more or short-term rentals more?
Here's okay. I think our community needs to own its stuff. How do we own our stuff? We need to embrace laws around short-term rental. It cannot be the wild, wild west, because if it is, that means all the bad actors that are out there will give us 100% a bad name. And we all have to learn to be professionals. As we saw, people losing their mind through all this, right? And so here's what's happening locally for me. So one, I got an owner who's asked me to take one over in Raleigh, which is great, and Raleigh is loosening up its rules. Here in Chapel Hill, we have been talking with a steering committee that has been put in place about rules. And we came late to the steering committee, but me and my wife made sure that we went and met with them and talked about where they were headed, because we didn't want to keep growing in an area that we were going to get our head chopped off. It just wasn't going to happen. And they were very welcoming to a really good conversation about it. And even the locals. So Chapel's this weird mix of extremely conservative and extremely liberal. It's a strange dynamic, but it really works for a good environment to live in. And what it's probably going to come down to is we're just going to have to license, and we're going to have some basic inspection. And I think that's sort of what we need as a whole across the nation, because we need to get rid of the bad actors who are just nothing more than slumlords who don't understand how to go to that next level, right? Let's be professional. I don't think they need to be extremely strict rules, because I think it'll destroy the industry. But hey, why don't you register your place? You have to carry insurance, and you have to have 1 or 2 inspections a year. But that inspection, let's just say you could do a video inspection where basically you have to show yourself. Say I took this from booking.com, being able to, if booking.com can't send you a piece of mail, they will get on the phone with you and watch you walk through by video call into the space and show that you have access and ownership of it. So I just thought the same thing, right? You take a video of yourself walking through, showing, hey, here's my this, here's my that, here's my sprinklers, here's my, my smoke detector. And you do all those things properly. Be a video, not pictures. Pictures means that you can lie. They could be for any place, right? And just let's make some rules that are for modern day, but not make them crazy. I think that will destroy an industry. Hotels have to be more stringent because they're packing 200 plus doors into a building, and it's a completely different situation. But should we meet some of the same things? Yeah, we should have smoke detectors, carbon monoxide. We need to have a fire extinguisher. We need to have, other safety features, whatever that might be, whatever they want us to have, right? Whether it be having the exit stuff on the door or whatnot, right? So, I think as cities are trying to figure this out, there's the other issue too is, well, you have to also look at housing, right? What kind of housing is available in a city? So we in this nation are suffering from the fact of affordable housing. And some cities, there's just nothing to choose from, right? So you have the scale is very tilted to extremely high-end housing, and affordable housing there's next to none, and people are being pushed out to the margins. Something that they're doing over here in Durham, where Duke is, Durham is gentrifying, And but one of the things when they build a community, my understanding is all the new apartment complexes and remodels that are coming in, it is mandatory that a certain amount of homes are allotted for like 5 or 6 years or something like that for low income housing, and that's even to accept Section 8s. And stuff. So we have to consider the big picture and not just say, well, they're not allowing it. Well, why are they not allowing it? And then as a community locally there, how are you giving an alternative to be successful? Are you just going to see, that's what I keep coming back to about being a professional here. Are you going to complain and moan about it and not do anything? Or are you going to try to lead and offer solutions and have an opportunity to be heard? So again, I'm blessed here, at least in North Carolina, to not be very strict. I know that Asheville up in the mountains, in the city itself, can be pretty darn strict from what I heard. In fact, someone was posting that someone got arrested for opening up their, like, for having an Airbnb operating in the city proper or something. I don't know much more than that. But Charlotte's pretty simple from what I hear. Charlotte's the 16th, 17th largest city in the U.S. now. Yeah, most people don't think about that, but it's true. It's getting to be a pretty big area. So
one major question I had for you, I wanted to know your Inmates to Entrepreneurship program. How did you start that, and how'd you get involved? How'd you get started with that, and what is it exactly?
Okay. So, oh man, I love Inmates to Entrepreneurs. Good stuff. All right. So for all who are listening, please go find Inmates to Entrepreneurs online. It is as simple as looking up the name Inmates to, and you start typing in ENT and it will pop up because it is such a unique name that you will find it, and it's been around forever. Okay. So Brian Hamilton, our founder, started going into prisons back in the 90s, mid 90s with, I think his name was Reverend Brown, I think. Why I don't remember. I've heard this story 1,000 times and can never remember it. And just going in and started talking to those incarcerated, and he, at some point in time, he started Inmates to Entrepreneurs. Now, how did I meet him? Just in my bio, I was the kid who would sell you candy and whatnot, but I was also the kid that got high the first time and started selling drugs. And so I was a really good drug dealer. I didn't have a single bit of problems except for my addiction until I got busted. And there was never a whiff of getting busted until someone narked on me. So, yeah, I developed a addiction problem and got myself in trouble. And I did 3 years. Whoop, whoop. It's the best thing that actually ever happened to me. I will not take it back. I talk about it all the time. That's how I ended up at the White House. That's how I ended up talking with helping Congress bring the prison to proprietorship program to light. But anyhow, Inmates to Entrepreneurs, what we do is we go. I met Brian, and I was incarcerated, and it was like 2008, and I got out and I stuck around the program and, on and off. And then over time, became board member, became a good teacher, hopefully. We have a whole program. We teach, we go into prisons and we give what we call the I Have a Dream speech for about 2 hours, covering some of the basics, reminding people that you don't have to be a drug dealer. You don't have to steal stuff. You can do things legally, and hopefully that pays off. We also teach here. So we teach in Wilmington, Fayetteville, Raleigh, Durham, Greensboro, Charlotte, and we've tried Asheville. We just haven't got a foothold there yet. And we have an 8-week course. So it's 7 weeks of class and 1 week of graduation. And we teach the basics of entrepreneurship between mentors, right? And then we also have a online course called Starter U, which is about, I think I was told it's 5 or 6 hours of content, might be 8 hours of content. And it's question and answer. That course is also available in prisons. So it's in 130, 160 prisons across the U.S. So inmates get to learn the places that do have internet access. And so now we're transitioning to Zoom. That's the cool part. I think Zoom is our future because it removes borders. As we've talked about trying to go nationally, the hard part is volunteers and accountability and brand and teaching the product correctly. We can sort of control that in the state of North Carolina. We can't control that the further it gets out of our borders. So we started doing classes on Zoom, and I've started rewriting our curriculum for us, which will be, I guess, the 3.0. We've had 1.0. We cut it up about a year ago and did 2.0. Now that we've had a couple times of teaching it for each person, we said, okay, now it's time for 3.0. And I think it's going to get 10 times better because now what will happen is I can introduce videos to get a point across, a 2 or 3 minute video to get a point across. And so what we're doing now is essentially we're teaching those who have a record. It's basically done on an honor system. We're not going to pull your background. But if you are judicially involved at some point in time and it's causing you an issue, come hang out with us. We'll teach you how to level the playing field. Because me as a felon, I got out and I couldn't find a job, dude. In 2010, when I got out, February of 2010, I was making $9 an hour with my rent was $900 a month. I had $400 a month child support. And at the time, ex-wife now, but a wife that was on unemployment. And, I couldn't get work. And so entrepreneurship levels the playing field. You don't get asked your background. I did go down to Fort Bragg a couple months ago, and it's the first time that someone looked at me and said, you'll never step foot on this place again, which is a little disappointing considering, our president has been pushing towards a second chance reform, but also too, prior to sometime during Obama's reign and them changing laws due to terrorism or whatever, I used to go on the base after I got out. I mean, I would go down and do repairs and whatnot. And what's the difference now? Because you had a couple of people freak out at other Army bases. I don't know, and it wasn't me, and it wasn't probably the vast majority of people. So anyhow, it levels the playing field, and so it's very cool. It's it doesn't matter. My demographic of people who come through the door are all people who have just been judicially involved, and we teach them we'll give them an opportunity to change their lives, and that's the coolest thing in the world I get to do, and it's opened up great doors for me. I mean, to go to the White House and to do things that's just cool stuff. This kid never thought he would ever end up in the White House by any means.
Man, I'm happy you're doing that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and
that's awesome.
I tell people that too, man. If I have friends who've made mistakes in the past, and some of them turned to entrepreneurship and changed their lives forever. So I'm happy you're doing that.
You will definitely get in touch with yourself. You have to be pretty self-aware to be in business, to an extent. And the prison systems are new slavery. I mean, we said we got rid of slavery, and most people just don't have any idea what the prison system is, because here's what we did. Somewhere in the 60s and 70s, we looked at our government and said, you protect us. All right. And when we did that, what happens, our prison system stopped being about reform and switched into being warehousing. And then through the years, we've had educational programs. We don't. In some places, they can't get educational programs anymore. We've already proven time and time again, education changes outcomes for people. I mean, even if you don't use the education, you've been taught to think and activate your brain. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about getting people to think in other ways and understand reasoning, and so the world is trying to change right now. I'm not a Trump fan, but he is doing good things when it comes to the prison system. Actually, I don't have an opinion on Trump. I mean, he's done great things for me in business, and I just see stupid statements. That's my own issue. I'm like, I don't know. Why did you open your mouth? I mean, that was not needed to be said. You were doing good, man, and then all of a sudden, so I don't have any real opinion either way, because again, you have to have an opinion if you watch the news and actually know what's happening, and I don't. But some things have got to change. Our communities of color, on through all forms of color, the men are gone. The men are locked up, and we have women trying to raise men. That doesn't work. It doesn't. So, and shout out to all the single moms. You're doing your best, but as men, we need to teach our boys to become men, and that's important. And so I'm just trying to do my best to slow down that door the best I can, and hopefully, someone who gets a better opportunity to financially change their future, and then through that means they're able to change the neighborhood that their kids grew up in, or get them to a different school or whatever it takes. So
that's awesome, man. We appreciate you for that. Big time.
Yeah.
I noticed real quick, you have a nice little mic set up there. Do you have your own show or what?
So, yeah. Well, okay. In the world of pandemic, and we all have time to do what we had time at first. What did you always say you wanted to do? So I've been thinking about for a while my own podcast, and because I love to talk to people, I can sit here time and time again and just talk to you guys about business and life and pick your brain, because it's all about scratching my own itch, right? I want to become better. And I love Joe Rogan, and I love all kinds of people with long form podcasts. Good conversations happen. Amazing things come out of people's mouths that I'm not going to get to hear otherwise. And I still have a little bit of ADD. So I love audiobooks, but I've realized I'd make it about halfway through the book, if that far. And anyhow, so I started, I'm in the process of starting a podcast. It's called World Domination, Conversations to Dominate Your Life. All right. So this is me playing around with this. Hold on, where am I at? There we go. There. It's very small. Is the old Fit Tech? You won't see it, dude. Is the old Fit Tech gear logo. And so I started making World Domination shirts to give out to customers. I was just playing around with the print on demand places, but they don't do that small. It doesn't come out well. It's a crappy print. But I've been for several years hashtagging or talking about, people say, Scott, how's it going? I'd say, I'm just working on world domination. I've just talked about it for so long, to where it's become as my tagline. And it's humorous, but it's very serious all at the same time, because I'm just trying to figure out my own damn world, right? Dominate my world. And so I hashtag that stuff all the time in social media, world domination. And I believe it. So I've done a couple recordings with World Domination, the podcast. However, what has happened is I just don't have the time to dedicate the way I need to. And then the other thing I found out, and here's the big time killer, and why I've just sort of said, okay, I'm going to pause. I'm not done. I enjoy having all this, and I enjoy talking to you guys and whatnot. I bought my laptop, and I got a good laptop. I've had it for a couple of years though, but I bought it to do business. I didn't buy it to render video. And once you hit, most of my stuff has been about an hour or so. Well, it gets frozen. It says, I don't like this. It shuts down. It has issues. I have scrapped so much stuff out of it that, I'll probably still interview people and record it and save it. And then I'll be working towards a new laptop that has the ability to process what I want. But the podcast world is intriguing to me. I love even Dr. Phil. Have you ever listened to the Dr. Phil podcast?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, all right. So here's a good one for you. Dr. Phil's series, Design Your Life, I think is what it's called. There's like 10 segments. Oh my God. Dude, you get Dr. Phil off the TV and he's so freaking, he's brilliant, dude. I mean, just his approach, his delivery, there's just so much more to him than the sound bites of his TV show, right? And so that's great. Obviously, you have Andy Frisella. Sometimes that gets a little aggressive for me. I'm a big John Maxwell fan. I love getting up in the mornings. And I have a routine too, by the way. I get up in the mornings, and I'm one of these people, I'm 60-40-ish or maybe more, I don't know, about how I'm going to feel when I wake up. And usually it's bad, so I have to do things to really work on my mindset. I'm just not a morning person. So I'll get up, and I might start with affirmation stuff. gratitude affirmations, and it's all based on YouTube Premium is the deal. So if you have not gotten YouTube Premium, so where you can listen to things and so your screen turns off, and you can still keep listening. Yeah, it's just the way to go. And the reason being is because I can sometimes, even my wife is half deaf anyways. I love her, but she can't hear very well. So I can wake up and before I'm completely conscious, I can turn on my phone, and you know how YouTube learns your algorithm of what you like. And I can literally turn my phone on and go to YouTube, and it will have affirmation stuff at the very beginning. And I just hit it, and I turn it down low, and I can stick it underneath the pillow. And I can wake up to telling myself about being a better human being, being in a better mood, thinking about, abundance, gratitude, whatever I need to work on, right? So I do things that. And then I'll transition into whether it be clips on being a better person, the Tony Robbins kind of mix of things, by Goalcast or somewhere like that. Or sometimes I'm going into audiobook, but I'm learning for a little while. And then my new thing is I've added in after that, because I'm not heading off to work. I'm still staying home, is like chill hop videos and stuff that are playing lo-fi beat things of the EDM world. And so that's got me, it's sort of jazzy, hip hoppy kind of whatever. And it's got me in a great mood through most of the day. And so it's routine of becoming a better person. So I wake up working on me for the very first couple hours of the day. That's what I teach all the time to inmates, right? Because these individuals are coming from a society where the society has continuously told them, you can't. You can't. And society tells us, right? How many of you of us here have had friends, maybe more so when you first started your journey than today, right? But they poo-poo your idea. I've accidentally done this in business. Yeah, exactly. We all suffer.
Still today.
Still today. They look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
And you've learned just not to pay attention to them.
Right.
When I'm teaching in class, these people have been told their whole lives that they can't. Right? You can't. And I'm always saying, how can you? Right? So remember, Inmates to Entrepreneurs is based on the idea of you just got out of prison and you got a $40 gate check. And yes, that is $40 to $60-ish, something like that, depending on what your state is or whatever. You could be locked up for 20 years. They give you $40. Hi, good luck. Right? So, so my mindset is about constantly learning, and I'm teaching people to do the same thing and changing the mindset, because I've been told my whole life in conscious or unconscious ways that I can't, or that I should know things already. And my journey, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I just said not. It takes me a long time to get things sometimes. And so my journey has been very long. And so all I'm doing is I'm preparing for when opportunities show up. Like, let's just talk about the pandemic here, right? While new to this industry, I pivoted very fast in what I needed to do, because I've been preparing continuously about becoming better, learning to be a leader, learning from Grant Cardone or Gary Vee or Ed Mylett or, Jim Rohn. I love Jim Rohn, by the way. Yeah, he's the man, ain't he? And so transition your life to waking up to segments of Jim Rohn for 20 minutes every day as you wake up, as your subconscious is more pliable. At least that's what he taught me. And so that's what I do. When I first wake up, my subconscious is more apt to learn. And that's the hardest thing to teach, right? Because when we're born, only thing your subconscious knows how to do is breathe. That's pretty much it, and function your body. Everything else gets taught. So I have all these years of being taught whatever that don't serve me. So anyhow, YouTube Premium, dude, all day long. $5, $6, $8, whatever it is, and then a subscription to Audible, and that's like a master's class right there.
That's cool, man. Because I could tell you have a busy mind
all the time.
So you've had, but you found ways to tame it, to control it, to form it, to get it to do what you want it to do. That's cool.
Well, okay. So Jim Rohn talks about E versus E, entertainment versus education, right? Which is more important? All right. So my entertainment now has become education. 90% of what gets played off of this device because this is pretty much my TV these days, right? Or something, or even here as I sit at my laptop and whatnot, it is education based. It's in moving forward based. I get off on it. Then again, that's my addictive personality, right? I'm an addict and alcoholic all day long. And so all I did was I transformed that addictive behavior. That obsessiveness is what has me sit down here going nuts around a website trying to figure it out on my own, for hours on end, where most people would throw their hands up and walk away. So I take all that craziness and I just put it to the right space. But I fully admit, it can get overwhelming. It can get really overwhelming. I just want to shut it off. I would love to be able to be one of these people sometimes that is more comfortable to sit down and veg in front of the TV, but I started my game late. I didn't get out of prison until I was 38, and everything else was mistake after mistake after mistake. So, I'm just learning, and I'm learning, and I'm playing catch up because I'm hitting the second. I'm coming to the second half of life. I got I didn't start in my 20s. I didn't start in my 30s. Early 30s. I started late, so I'm playing catch up.
Man, that shows that age is nothing but a number because you're still doing it though, man. That's what's up.
Yeah, and because Fit Tech now, Service RX now allows me to work part-time, no time, whatever. I got staff that runs it. I don't have to do anything specifically. It's going to it's allowing me to take back my life. And so that going down to Panama, it's East Coast time, so I can still get up and work with everybody else. I just work remotely if I have to. I can go do whatever. And plus too, man, the power of a good phone. I'm a Samsung Note fan because these things are designed for work, for sure. I can run my whole business pretty much off of it.
Nice. Well, Scott, thank you so much for hopping on, man. You've left so much tidbits. I'm gonna try that waking up stuff, and definitely gonna try that because because it is how you wake up, kind of like dictates the rest of your day in a way, and
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna take that one.
It pays dividends, man. Your morning routine pays dividends, and like when you put on the music finally, right? Chill hop, jazz hop, whatever you want to call it, lo-fi. It's one of those things that music directly affects your nervous system, and you will react to it. You have no choice to react to it. And I'm not a big EDM fan by any means, but in the morning, just that beat. And then suddenly it picks up, and then very
Win the morning, win the day, right?
Yep, exactly.
So where can folks find you?
Well, that's the hard part right now. Okay, so Service RX is GoSRX.com, GoSRX.com. And then Sojourn will be, once I transfer over the new domain name, will be Sojourn, SOJOURN International, which is INTL. I think that's what hopefully she bought as a web domain name.com. That will be hopefully up and running in the next week, I would like to say. I hope. I don't know. The weekend's coming. I really don't want to do anything on the weekend. Anyhow, and then obviously on Facebook, I'm Scott Jennings. My shining face is there, and eventually there'll be a Facebook page for Sojourn. What else? That's really it. I mean, on Instagram, it's fittech_and_assembly. Which I guess it should probably change that name too. See, when you change your name, you got to figure out where you've been branded everywhere. It's just like we're rewriting contracts, we're redoing websites, looking for everything. All these videos I had that at the end had our logos, I just had to take them down. I mean, it's just like, golly, life is busy. But busy is good, so I'm not going to complain.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for hopping on, and we look forward to having you on possibly again in the future. And thank you for all you're doing in the inmate community and the the outmate community when they come out and getting them, into entrepreneurship. That's that you're changing lives, you're changing the world doing that. That's awesome.
Well, man, I appreciate you guys having me. It's fun to talk to you guys. Thanks for letting me ramble on for a little while. It's good to sort of share opportunities with people and thought processes, and hopefully we've helped some people today.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And that was Scott Jennings with Fit Tech and Assembly. Or my bad. I'm sorry. I said Fit Tech again. I'm sorry. What was it? Not Fit Tech.
Go Service RX.
Service RX. Sorry, with Service RX. And that was a really good episode. That was really I'm the Inmates to Entrepreneurs program. That's awesome that he did that. He shows just push through adversity, you can make it. But yeah, you can find Live Let Thrive at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Remember to subscribe below. Follow on Instagram. We're always posting on there. So yeah, thank you guys.
Leave us a review on iTunes. That helps.
Oh yes, sir. Always leave us a review. And we are out.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.